Hello and welcome to Money Mind. Wine is something that we're familiar with, for most of us as a form of alcoholic beverage rather than a form of investment. But you keep hearing things like how some Australian wines have increased in value by 300% since 1992. And it makes you wonder whether or not you're missing out on a good investment opportunity. Well, I decided to find out more and spoke to people like Andrew Bassett of the Australian Wine Index for some answers. About 95% of the wine produced in the world are normal drinking wines. Only 5% or so are investment grade. Table wines are meant to be drunk within 1 to 2 years as they mature within this time. Fine wines, however, take decades to mature and may have a drinkability period of up to 50 years. And while wine investment is still a relatively new concept in Asia, as you can see in this wine fiesta, it's one that's catching on fast.
I'm in the wine business for 40 years and understood only very lately that wine is something very interesting. I bought wines by passion. I'm a passionate person, I'm sommelier, and understood that Burgundy, people come to Burgundy, it's a crossing of France, Burgundy, through Europe. Is the wine growing up, still growing up? I said 2008 vintage, Bordeaux, always Bordeaux, it's funny. 2009 Bordeaux, again. 2010 a top vintage, again. People invest always in Bordeaux. This is for investments and coming back money which goes up to 100, 200, 300, 500 and even 1000% coming back. Why? Because you have people who write to give points, 99 point, 98 point, investments money. First cru, second cru. Today, Singapore is a crossing of making marketing. Young generation people I saw here are very interested. Maybe because they know less about wine. Wine is not only a matter to invest, to get money back. Either you're a passionate person or you're venal, as we say in French, you like money. If you like money, invest in money. And invest in wine, like gold, like diamonds, like watches today.
Traditionally, French wines are seen as the ones with the best investment value. But wine experts at Langton and Woolworths Liquor Group note that Australian wines are beginning to make their mark. Penfolds Grange now leads a remarkable list of Australian wines regularly traded on the secondary market for profit and pleasure. In fact, at a recent Langton's auction, a bottle of 1951 Penfolds Grange reportedly achieved a record price of $30,355 US. To cater to growing demand from Asian investors, Australian Wine Index set up in Singapore. 4 years ago, Andrew Bassett took the helm of the brokerage. Why should wine be considered as part of a diversified portfolio?
Well, wine is very stable. I mean, you don't have the ups and downs of the stock market. Wine relatively should not go down in value. I think we've seen historically wine has outperformed all the other investment indices, and wine is it's a very good commodity. It will be, if anything fails, you can always drink it.
That said, the performance of the benchmark LiveX Fine Wine 100 Index, which carries mainly European wines, has shed some 8.4% so far this year. In comparison to the S&P 500, which is down 4.2%, and gold, which is up 23% year to date. Australian Wine Index says that the asset has not been left unscathed by what is happening in the wider markets.
We've all seen the demise of the US and the European markets, which we know is still happening. The US market has caused a lot of wines to decrease in value. We've seen LiveX. They do trade mainly French, old world wines. We've spoken to LiveX on many occasions. There are a few Australian wines that get on there. I think what Australian Wine Index are aiming to do is to showcase the very best of Australian wines and to show that the French wines don't have the best wines all the time.
Australian Wine Index provides its customers, 80% of whom are Singapore-based, with buy or sell recommendations on wines based on the wine sales figures, the performance of past vintages, and international review ratings. Once an investor has decided on the right mix of labels, the brokers will facilitate the buy, and arrange for storage in a climate-controlled environment. In the past 4 years, assets held by the brokerage have grown by about 50%. It now holds approximately 90 million Singapore dollars of Australian fine wine that its clients have purchased.
We don't know if it will obviously continue growing at the same pace, but what we're kind of focusing on now is actually trading the wines and selling the wines. We've got to a point where we really want to see these wines being moved. And that's why we chose China. China was obviously the biggest market that looks like it's still got growth for the next 10 years. We've got a 5-year reciprocal deal with Gupai, which is one of the biggest auction houses it's in Shanghai. And it's also partly owned by the People's Republic of China. And hopefully we're positioned now to do 5 years of auctions every 2 months, and we'll start to give our clients a healthy return. We're looking at auctions in Hong Kong. Hopefully we'll have our first auction in Hong Kong coming up very soon. So we'll have auctions in Shanghai, auctions in Hong Kong, and also we are going to set our own trading platform up for our clients, which will go global.
And the trading platform will be based from Singapore?
Will be based from Singapore. We're currently looking at a platform which is an American company that uses really good software, which is the fastest. It's also reaches to people the best. You know, we've done our homework in this, and I truly believe that the platform we're about to choose will be the best for our clients. All the best.
At a recent auction, the brokerage netted its clients returns of between 10 and 60%. 25% of the wines that were put for auction were sold. Market watchers say for investors looking to tap into this market, they have to be patient and can't expect returns overnight. Andrew Caillard, fine wine principal at Langton's and Woolworths Liquor Group, refers to wine investment as a generally speculative market and adds that there's no guarantees of making returns, although there is plenty of anecdotal evidence to suggest many wines do appreciate in value over time. He adds the secondary wine market requires investor enthusiasm, continual questioning, and plenty of research. He also says that while it's true that some Australian wines have improved in value over the last 10 years, this is limited to a few key wines and vintages. So which Australian wines do you see as a good investment?
Well, I think anything that's on the Langton's index, which holds about 120 wines, to get on that index is pretty difficult. You've got to kind of have proved yourself for the last 6 or 7 years that your vintage has scored consistently high. And then after that, there's about another 150 wines which are emerging vineyards, which are looking to go onto the Langton's index.
Andrew Caillard of Langton's and Woolworths Liquor Group says that investors should remember a few simple concepts when investing in wine. Wine is an agricultural commodity. Each year, production will fluctuate with grape supply. Reputation related to brand definition, constant quality and cellaring potential is a key factor to wine investment and is invariably related to track record. Buying earliest, fastest and cheapest is a concept common to all investments. For wine, this means buying on release. And last but not least, a diverse and well-balanced cellar is more enjoyable and easier to sell.